Yo, 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 this is your boy Sutton Def from the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. What's going on, y'all? Appreciate y'all for coming through to another episode of Quiet Storm Sports with your host Sutton Def. Make sure you like this video really quick. Let's get through all the housekeeping stuff. Like the video, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new here. Got a good little bit to talk about tonight on this episode of the show. Hope y'all are doing good. Let me see who's in the chat here. We got King Blaze in the chat. What's going on? D Wiz in the house. Chris M says, "Hey Sutton, what's going on, Chris? Appreciate you for coming through today." Let me see who else we got in here. We got Jing in the house. What's going on, y'all? So yeah, we got some things to talk about. Listen, today was the first time Don Royal in the house. What's going on? Today was the first time that we actually got to see the Ravens compete against real competition, right? Some guys who weren't in some purple and black or white jerseys, some guys who were in the white and blue jerseys, the Indianapolis Colts, came to Baltimore today. And there were a couple of tidbits of information that I took from it that I've kind of internalized over the past couple of hours. And I was trying to formulate my takes for you guys on, the things that happened today. And I've come to a couple conclusions. Okay. I've come to a couple conclusions. Where do we start? Lisa Ann in the house. What's going on, Lisa? I see you in the chat. King Tone in the chat as well says, "What's up, everyone? What's going on, King Tone?" Rod Wave. What's going on, Rod Wave? Yeah. Okay. Let's get into it, guys. Let me start with this. I'm just gonna hop right in. Let's start with the fight. All right. Let's start with the fight. So if you don't know, now you know the Ravens did get into a little kerfuffle, if you will, with the Indianapolis Colts. It was on a special teams play. LaJohntay Wester called for a fair catch, and one of the Colts players on the team it got into a little shoving match with Keon Martin from the Ravens. And, one thing led to another. And next thing you know, you see Nate Wiggins, who wasn't even in the play, flying from the sidelines and coming to confront the Colts player who got into a shoving match with the Ravens player. And apparently Nate Wiggins threw a punch. I think the other guy, the Colt player, threw a punch as well. And they were just going back and forth, and the whole, it basically, you know how it goes, training camp practices, right? The entire team, like the bench is clear. The entire team kind of gets up and gets in the middle, whether that be to break it up or to try to, escalate the situation. You never know who's trying to de-escalate or who's trying to escalate the situation. That's the funny thing about those type of moments. There's such a big crowd, and like half of the guys are trying to break it up, the other half of the guys are trying to keep it going. I don't know who was who because of course we didn't get any footage of that, and none of the beat writers actually really got into detail on who was breaking things up and things like that. All we heard was that Nate Wiggins threw some punches and he got booted out of practice. Right? He got kicked out of practice. Um, which is, I think John Harbaugh said it. He said that this is like a learning experience for a guy like Nate Wiggins. Like, hey man, if you retaliate, you're gonna get flagged. And that is very true. That is very true. We've always known in the NFL, it's never the first guy, it's never the guy who starts it. It's always the guy who finishes it. It's always the guy who retaliates, right? Which can seem a little bit backwards, right? When you kind of talk about if you're trying to be judicious with it, right? It seems a little bit backwards, but that's just the way that the NFL rolls. I mean, we've seen it. I think we saw it in the AFC Championship game in 2023 when Travis Kelsey was kind of egging on the Ravens and kind of, antagonizing them. And they reacted, they responded. And guess who was the one who got flagged? The Ravens, the ones who reacted. So a learning experience for Nate Wiggins for one. Now that I got that out the way, now that I got that out the way, I loved it from Nate Wiggins. I love that energy. I love that energy. Look, it's been months and months and months since the Ravens have gotten to really compete with another team of grown professional football players. It's been months. And the last taste of competition that they had was a bad taste because they lost in the divisional round to the Bills, as we know. So I think it's very, very natural for tempers to kind of flare out there. I mean, football is it's a mental sport. I think more than a lot of people give it credit for. A lot of people just look at the physical side of things, but it's such a mental sport. And this is why I like coaches who played previously, right? It takes a different level of understanding to know what those players have to do, the switch that they have to flip in their mind every time that they step out onto that gridiron. You have to become almost you have to be almost out of your body, right? Because at the end of the day, it's such a physically demanding and dangerous sport that you're signing up for. That's why these guys want these guaranteed contracts and whatnot, because they understand the risk. They understand what it means to step out on that football field, you know. And I think that Nate Wiggins just had a moment, as a football player. He's been playing football his whole life, obviously. I think he just kind of had a moment where it was just like, okay, I'm back. It's back to competition. No more friendly. You know what I mean? Like we're playing against each other, in shorts a couple of weeks ago. Now we're in pads. We're still not really hitting. We're not really tackling things like that. We're celebrating the other unit's success, right? Jair Alexander. None of that now. Now it's actual time for real deal competition. That's where we're at. And I think that a guy like Nate Wiggins really woke up and realized that in real time. And of course, I also love the fact that he's just standing up for his teammates, point blank, period. That's what you got to do. You got to handle business out there. Lamar Jackson said it himself. He thinks his guys handled it well. They handled themselves very well. Now, of course, Lamar can't really get into the mix and things like that. He's the quarterback, but it's good knowing that you got some dogs on your team. Nate Wiggins showed me today that he got some dog in him, and it's not that I didn't know that before, but this really solidifies it, and I think will only bring it'll only make his relationship with a guy like Jair Alexander, and this might be a little bit, you know, unrelated, but I think that Jair Alexander, being the type of guy he is, a talker, right? Not afraid to get in the guy's face, you know what I mean? Not afraid to be a little bit eccentric. I think he looks at, a Nate Wiggins who is kind of like his, I don't want to say like young predecessor, but like I'm sure that he's kind of teaching Nate Wiggins some things as a young cornerback in this league, especially a young outside corner, on how to kind of perform and what to do in certain situations. So I think that Nate Wiggins kind of stepping up for a teammate here and kind of showing that dog in him, it probably proved a lot to Jair Alexander, and it'll probably bring them closer. Maybe unrelated, just saying. Just saying. But I loved it though. I love the energy from Nate Wiggins. I do. Let me see. What are y'all saying here? Lisa says, I would have sat my player and made him sit and let him think about what he did. Nate just wanted to let him hold that 3-piece no biscuit. Raw Wave says, wish the D line had that same energy. I mean, I don't know. I think the D line got some dogs on. I mean, I want to talk about Travis Jones in a second. Here. Let me see. Colts shouldn't have completed a pass. Both QBs are trash. Yeah. All right. Because of what just happened today, we're finna have some savages at corners. RJ, what's going on, RJ? Appreciate you for coming through. I totally agree. This is what I was basically just alluding to. This is what I was just getting at. Like, I think that this secondary room is going to be so close and tight knit this year. The celebrations are going to go crazy, and the chemistry is going to be really, really good. I expect, if anything, a lot of coverage sacks once these guys really, like, how do I say, like, really get in the rhythm and get in the flow of football again. It's going to be very, very hard to throw on this defense. Extremely hard. Not to mention Malachi Starks is looking good. I heard reports from him. Cordell Woodland, actually, friend of the show as of yesterday. He was just on yesterday's show with Kevin Ostreicher. If you haven't seen that episode, make sure you go check that out. But Cordell Woodland had reported today that Malachi Starks had a good day in camp in this joint practice with the Colts. So that's some more news there. Let me see what else we've got here. I have a whole list of things that I wanted to talk about here. Let me see. Let's start with this. A lot of the Ravens reporters, right? The beat writers, the guys who cover the Ravens at the stadium every single day, they don't necessarily report on the shortcomings of the Ravens as much as the beat writers of the opposite team would. So I took the liberty to try to find beat writers from the Indianapolis Colts and see what they were saying, because I remember from last year when the Ravens had a joint practice with the Packers, it came out that like not all the beat writers were reporting all that happened that day. So I went and I looked at the Colts beat writers and what they were saying, and apparently it was a big day for Adonai Mitchell. AD Mitchell, the Colts wide receiver, had himself a big day. Let me see. According to Nate Atkins, another big AD Mitchell practice. He's roasting defenders deep, playing through penalties, and catching everything that's come his way. And he's chirping some too. So he was talking to the Ravens. He was talking to the Ravens today, you know. And I feel like that's something as well. I mean, and one of these things says that AD Mitchell burned Nate Wiggins on a deep ball during 11 on 11. Anthony Richardson threw it on the money, and Mitchell readjusted to snatch it near the sideline. I think it was a back shoulder. That's why he had to readjust, even though it was a perfect throw. But it was up the sideline, and AD Mitchell kept his feet in bound, and it was incredible body control. That was from James Boyd, another guy who covers the Indianapolis Colts. So, I think that the fight could have been a little bit of a frustration thing from Nate Wiggins as well. That's another thing because, Nate Wiggins was, throughout training camp thus far, some of the Ravens wide receivers have gotten the better of him. They've beaten him, and he's been in some highlights, and those slow motion highlights that the Ravens like to show is like, yeah, I mean, Nate Wiggins has been in a lot of these, and I think that he's still just kind of like, again, getting into the football rhythm. I don't think that when the season starts, Nate Wiggins is going to be giving up plays left and right. I don't believe that at all. I don't. Um, but again, I think that that fight that Nate Wiggins got into might have been a result of him being frustrated by getting beat, and getting beat in front of his teammates, and in front of the Colts, and it's just, I'm sure it wasn't a good feeling. I'm sure it wasn't a good feeling, but yeah, that was news that came out. AD Mitchell had a good day. Tila M in the chat. What's going on, Tila? Hope you're having a wonderful evening. Appreciate you for coming through. We got Tisha Brown in the house. She says she did hear that Nate got burned. Yeah, he did. He did. He got burned. But again, I don't think that's going to carry over into the season. That's just me. I think that he's going to play very, very well on that outside, especially with Jair opposite of him. Marlowe at the nickel. And then he's going to have a lot of help. He's going to have a lot of help. I think Malachi Starks is going to do a really, really good job at being where he needs to be when he needs to be there. Kyle Hamilton, we already know the Ravens. Zach Orr, I think, plans on putting him pretty much anywhere on the field that he needs him, because as we know, Kyle Hamilton, he can literally do it all on the defense, whether it be, be the free safety on the back end, whether it be in the box, whether it be in the slot, whether it be pass rushing. He can do it all. He can truly do it all. So I think Nate Wiggins will be fine. Again, the fight might have just came from some frustration. Moving right along here. Moving right along. Let me see. Colts rookie linebacker Hunter Wohler had 2 interceptions in the final portion of practice. One on a tipped pass. I think that one was from Cooper Rush. And the other on a forced pass from Lamar Jackson over the middle. And apparently Hunter Wohler was the defensive star of the day for the Colts. So it was kind of reported that, the Ravens offense was up and down against the Indianapolis Colts, and apparently the Colts, they're expected to have a pretty good defense this year as well. But I think that this is one of those things where, and let me know if you guys agree with this. This is one of those things where, like, the first time that you try something or that you do something, there's going to be some growing pains, right? Think about how the Ravens offense looked at the very beginning of training camp. Reports were coming out that, like, oh, I mean, the defense is definitely way ahead right now. And then when the pads came on, the defense was way ahead of the offense, right? The offense wasn't performing that well first day in pads, but they started to get it together day by day. Now, first practice against another live team, Indianapolis Colts, there's some struggles. So I just think that the next kind of, I guess you could say, step on the staircase would to be to play in an actual game. which we know the Ravens starters are not going to play in the preseason. We're not going to see them in live game action until week 1, Sunday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park. That's the first time we're going to see them. And I think that with that being the first time that the Ravens actually get real in-game action, there could be a little bit of like a, warming up period, right? There could be a little bit of a slow start, which is why I think, and again, let me know if you agree with this in the chat. If you're not watching live, you're part of the hashtag replay gang. First of all, shout out to you. Appreciate you for coming through. I think that the Ravens, excuse my dog, I think that the Ravens should play players in the preseason, starters in the preseason. Maybe not every game. Maybe it's just the last game for one quarter. If it's just the last game for one quarter, you have to let the bullets fly by their heads, is what I'm saying. You have to be under the lights, fans in the stadium, another team opposite of you, right? And kind of getting that live action. Nothing replicates that other than actually doing it. Nothing replaces it. And I think that it's more important this year more than ever for the Ravens starters to get a little bit of practice, to get a little bit of run in a real game, albeit preseason, but a real game. It's important, especially with the schedule being as tough as it is, as early as it is. Because weeks 1 through 7, right? So basically the whole first quarter and some change of the season is not going to be easy. I mean, again, who was it? Bills, Browns, Lions, Chiefs, Texans, Rams. I mean, come on. The last thing you want to do is get off to a slow start. The last thing you want to do is get off to a slow start, because we know receding implications by the end of the season, the Ravens are absolutely positively going to need some of these tiebreaker wins. They're going to need some of these tiebreaker victories. I don't care how you feel about it, but the Ravens cannot afford to start slow. Can't afford to start 0-2 like last year. Can't do it. Which is why, again, I think that the Ravens, to kind of, not make it so they necessarily need like a warm-up period, let them play preseason. Let them play preseason. I'm not saying every game. Again, maybe it could just be the last game for one quarter. Maybe, hell, 2 possessions. But just something to kind of get that switch flipped again. Because I think that's important. Nothing replaces it. I guarantee you can ask any player. Nothing replaces the live game action, period. Let me see what you guys are saying. So the dog is practicing his First Amendment rights. You're right. He's back laying down now, luckily. You're right. Everyone should be playing. I agree. They should play preseason. They should. We do the same thing every year and then collapse in the playoffs. If you're going to play them week 3. Again, I agree with you, D-Wiz. I agree. Oh, hold on. My Siri's coming up. Damn Siri. Yeah. But I totally get you there. I'm totally with you, man. Play them week 3 of preseason. I mean, just something. Let me see. Justin Lewis in the house says, "Hey, Sutton, what the Ravens have to do to get over the hump?" Man, it's a lot of things. Before we move on in this training camp talks, I think it's well, maybe not a lot of things. I think it just has to do with being yourself in the playoffs, like having the mental capacity to be yourself. And I know that probably doesn't make sense on the surface, but I feel like the Ravens going into these playoff games, and it's snowballed over the years since Lamar Jackson has been here. With every single playoff failure, the chip on the shoulder, the monkey on the back, right? The weight on the brain, on the mental, gets bigger and bigger. So when I say you have to have the mental capacity to be yourself, we know in the regular season, the Ravens play free. They play free as a bird, right? But in the postseason, it just seems like everything is so much more difficult. Everything is harder. Yards are harder to come by. You know what I mean? Touchdowns are harder to come by. Hell, turnovers are hard to come by. We have not turned the football over in the Lamar Jackson era during the playoffs very well at all. I think only 2 turnovers in the Lamar Jackson era in the playoffs. And get this, the defense has never flipped the field for Lamar Jackson. So what I mean by that is Lamar Jackson has never started a drive in the playoffs in opponent's territory. Never. That's an issue. That's an issue. So to get over the hump, I think again it's a mental thing, but forcing turnovers is going to be the catalyst. I say it every year. Um, the team who wins the turnover battle wins the game 80% of the time in the playoffs. That is not a fabricated stat. That is a fact. And the Ravens lose turnover battles in the playoffs. So they lose the game. Right? So I think the biggest thing is we're going to need this defense. We're definitely going to need this defense to make some big plays. They've been very bend, not break. They've been very bend, don't break. It's not like Josh Allen went off against us in that divisional game, right? The Chiefs did not score in the second half of that AFC Championship game in 2023. We just simply did not force them to make mistakes. We didn't force them to make mistakes. That's what it is. And we made mistakes. As good as we are, we were able to really still hang tight in both of those games. The AFC Championship game loss against the Chiefs and the divisional loss against the Bills. Right? But if you take away those turnovers that the Ravens committed and you turn the other team over, guarantee you we win those games 12 times out of 10. So yes, Justin, just to answer your question in short, force turnovers and have the mental capacity to be yourself and play freely in the playoffs, just like you do in the regular season. That's what it comes down to. There's also a coaching thing too. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on that, on the coaching thing right now. I think I'm going to make a totally separate video about John Harbaugh and kind of like the coaching philosophy. I want to make a reaction video on that, so stay tuned for that. Probably going to drop that in the next couple of days or so. Let me see. Lisa says, Sutton, how ready will Zach have the guys for Thursday night? Well, again, the first unit's not going to be playing. So I think that what you're going to see from Zach Orr is really just kind of a feeling out game, to see which guys can of course, which guys can make the 53, but which guys can potentially be an impact player as a starter on this team. Mike Green is going to be a guy who I expect to get some play time, as a rookie. All good things that I've heard about him so far. And I guess this is me talking about Mike Green. Again, our guy Cordell Woodland, friend of the show, he mentioned Mike Green and how good he's looked as a natural pass rusher. And that is so important for the Ravens right now. Having a guy who can win and win fast. He can beat his man fast around the corner with a bunch of different pass rushing moves. Having a guy like that, and my dog agrees, having a guy like that, where you can rush 4 and he can generate pressure. Just imagine. Let's say it's 3rd and 8, right? Versus the Steelers. Steelers have the ball. Aaron Rodgers drops back. The Ravens are only rushing 4. But Mike Green dips around the edge and is able to get to Aaron Rodgers right as he's making his 3-step drop. Aaron Rodgers has nowhere to go with the football, right? Because we're not rushing more than 4, right? Everything's covered. Kyle Hamilton's on the back end somewhere over there. Malachi Starks is over here. Nate Wiggins and Jair Alexander are glued to their guys over there. Marlon Humphrey is locking up your slot receiver over here. Where do you go with the football? What do you do? If the Ravens can get a guy who can generate pressure off of a 4-man rush, and I think that's what Mike Green can potentially be for this team, which is what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at that, Lisa, on Thursday night to see if that translates to play under the lights. And again, he won't be playing against first teamers. At least we don't think so. But if he can show that ability under the lights, again, in a real game, that is going to be, I think, the missing piece. Because again, edge rusher is a premium position in this league. It's a premium position. So if he can do that, the sky's the limit for this, not only this defense, but this team. I'll say that. Lots of comments in here. You guys going crazy in the chat. Appreciate y'all for coming through. 70 people watching live. on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports with your boy Sudden Def. I'm reacting to the training camp joint practice today with the Indianapolis Colts and the Baltimore Ravens, our Baltimore Ravens. Let me see. Tisha Brown says trying to watch the Raggedy Bills on Hard Knocks and the live stream at the same time. I forgot about that. I forgot about Hard Knocks, with the Buffalo Bills. I don't know if I mean, HBO normally does a really good job at, producing these shows, so I might give it a watch, but it might trigger me at the same time. Like I'm not buddy buddy with the Bills, bro. I'm just not. I'm just not. I'm just not. Let me see. Dog always throwing in the 2 cents. Facts, facts, facts. Let me see. Let me scroll down here. Let me scroll down. Can't watch no Bills. That's what I'm saying. I can't watch no Bills, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me see. The WonderCon show in the house. What's going on? I think that's my guy Nitro over there. I got Nitro over there putting out good content on his channel as well. Make sure you guys go and subscribe to him as well. We gotta collab sometime, bro. You bring a lot of energy. We gotta collab sometime. Let me see. Let me turn it off like maybe I'm bad luck. That's funny. Okay. Let's get into what else I had from this training camp practice today. There were a couple other things. Rashad Bateman was back practicing today. That was encouraging to see. I think he had a big catch over the middle for like 15 yards. I think Lamar Jackson, it was like a sprint out type of play where he sprints all the way to his right. Then he finds Rashad Bateman in the middle of the field for a big gain. That was encouraging. And, the thing about Rashad Bateman, I think I talked about this on the last stream too. He has developed so much. Dare I say, Lamar Jackson has developed the wide receiver. You know what I mean? Because early in Rashad Bateman's career, again, they weren't like really hooking up like that. Like Rashad Bateman in Lamar Jackson, at least not at the level that we thought it would, not soon enough at least. And Rashad Bateman, of course, he went down with a couple of injuries. He got hurt a few times, but now it seems like Rashad Bateman is one of his top options for pass catchers. He makes himself available for Lamar Jackson. Like on a play like that where Lamar Jackson is just buying time. Apparently he had a defender on his ass on that play too. Like in plays like that, you have to make yourself available for Lamar, find an open patch of grass, show Lamar your numbers, and he will get the ball to you. I think Rashad Bateman has learned that, and that chemistry between him and Lamar is going to translate into big production on the field this season. I fully expect whatever his touchdown line is for Rashad Bateman for this year, take the over. Because I guarantee you, Vegas will probably put it about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5.5. I'm just saying, take it. I don't see them putting his line at anything over 7.5. I don't. Travis, what's going on, Travis? Says Bait about to ball out. I mean, I agree. I 100% agree, man. Let me see. So yeah, Bateman had a good day today. What up on my phone? Tanja in the house. What's going on, Tanja? Tanja Bowman here. Purple Rain Pioneer, always coming through, always supporting. We appreciate you for coming through. Andrew G, I see you in the house as well. Thank you for sounding off in the chat. All right, let's get back to business here. What else did I see? What else did I want to talk about? News came out today. Anthony Richardson will start Thursday's game against the Ravens. That is news. Daniel Jones will start week 2 versus Green Bay. So the Colts quarterback situation, they really don't know what they're doing. They have no idea. They have no clue what they're doing in terms of direction at quarterback. It's funny to me that, Anthony Richardson in his, second, third year, he's just one of those guys. I think he's probably top 5 quarterbacks in this league with the most to prove this year. I think he is. Daniel Jones, the fact that he's like going back and forth with Daniel Jones, like competing with him in camp, It's just I don't think it looks good. I don't think it looks good, man. But we'll see what he has to offer on Thursday's game against the Ravens. We'll maybe Mike Green can get after him. Jay and Jack says can't wait to see Mike Green on Thursday. Yeah, maybe we can see Mike Green getting after Anthony Richardson early in that game. That'd be cool to see. Let me see. Tyler Loop. Let's talk some Tyler. Let's talk Tyler. Tyler Loop is still doing his thing, according to Jonas Schaefer. With practice close to over, he goes 6 for 6, including makes from 41, 44, and 45 yards. So as we know, the other day at the stadium practice, our guy Tyler Loop, new Ravens kicker, who is the only kicker on the roster currently, hit from 60 yards, 56 yards, a couple 30-yarders, and I think a 40-yarder as well at the stadium practice. Today, he hits from 41, 44, 45, and he hits 3 more kicks after that as well. I assume they were from closer range. So, I mean, I think that I like this. The Loop Troop. I like that. I like that. Who came up with that? The Loop Troop. I'm part of the Loop Troop. I'll say that. I'm part of the Loop Troop, man. Tisha says really proud of Lil Loop. Yeah, I mean, if he can carry this momentum into the season, if he can carry the same energy, this kicking energy into the season, then I'll be ecstatic, man. I mean, like you can't take for granted what a kicker does for your team, right? And old Jay Tugger, for whatever he did, he was a damn good kicker for the Ravens for a lot of years, and that production, if it were to drop off like dramatically, and I know what you guys are gonna say, Tucker, he wasn't that good last year. I understand it. I get it, but I'm not talking about just the 2024 season. I'm talking about the entire body of work, the consistency that he was able to offer. That was like over the years. That was something that, like, again, Ravens score a touchdown on a random 1 p.m. CBS game. You can get up, go use the bathroom, go get yourself a snack, a drink, while he's going to kick the extra point. What's going in, right? That type of privilege as a fan is what I'm talking about. If Tyler Loop can provide that type of privilege as a fan, then man, we'll have to wait and see what he does on Thursday for sure. Hopefully he gets some opportunities to kick some long ones on Thursday. That'll be great. We do have a super chat donation. This one's coming from D-Wiz. What's going on, D-Wiz? Dropping the 10-piece in the chat, making it rain here at the Purple Rain podcast. We appreciate you, brother. It says, peace, family, peace, sudden death. Keep on rocking. I got you, brother. I got you all season long. All season long. I am here for you guys, man. Again, Monday and Thursdays episodes with Alex, the Purple Rain podcast. I'll be doing these Quiet Storm Sports pretty much daily, also the YouTube shorts. Make sure you guys stay locked into the channel, but appreciate you, D-Wiz, for making it rain here on this episode of PRP. Let me see. Jing says Loop needs to stay in the Ravens facility for treatment. Stay away from those spa and massage parlors. Oh my gosh. The Tugger jokes. Man, let me see. This right here. Tanja Bowman. This right here. I want to see Loop when we need a field goal to win the game or it's cold and windy. Then he will be the real deal. That's a fact. Okay. So I know. I'd say there's about a 65% chance that on September 7th, Sunday Night Football against the Bills in Buffalo, there will come a time where the Ravens need a 40-plus yard field goal. And the Ravens will trot Tyler Loop out there, and he will get his first real test. Because listen, those Buffalo fans, week 1, listen, Buffalo is just as hungry for a Super Bowl as the Baltimore Ravens are. And I'm talking about their fans. You guys know how crazy Buffalo fans are. They are going to be standing at attention and absolutely screaming for this kid to miss a kick. They're going to be screaming. And guess what? They know, because of how public this offseason has been for the Ravens special team matters, has been, like, they know that Tyler Loop is a rookie kicker. He's green. He's fresh. They're going to be trying to get in his head, under his skin. I promise you. So that'll be his real test. I agree with you, Tanja. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what he does in those big moments. Tim Hughes, what's going on, Tim Hughes? Says, I hope everyone is having a good night so far. So do I. So do I. All mutual, Tim. Yeah. But Loop, I mean, yeah, before I get off a Loop here, he's kind of shown that he's not shying away from the big moments. Right? We saw him at the stadium practice. What he did at the stadium practice, I mean, he was calling on the crowd to get loud. You know what I'm saying? Like hype me up. You know what I'm saying? Like turn me up. Like that sort of thing. And the crowd obliged. They got loud. I'm sure some of you guys were there. Some of you guys got loud. And he still made the kicks. So I mean, he's not a guy who's gonna shy away from, the bright lights, seemingly. And he was the same way at Arizona, if you ask people who followed him there too. Okay. Let's go ahead and move along here. What else I got? What else I got? What else I got? Tyler Loop still doing his thing. Not too much. Not too much. Not too much left here. Nnamdi Madubuike spoke today after practice, basically saying he mentioned Travis Jones. And I wanted to bring up Travis Jones. 80 people watching live, by the way. Thank y'all so much for coming out to this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. I am your host, Sutton Def. Follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Sutton Def. Subscribe to the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel as well. But Travis Jones and Nnamdi Madubuike, apparently, according to Madubuike, have really, really good chemistry. Now, there was a rumor that Travis Jones will be playing more nose tackle. And I think that if Travis Jones is lining up over your team center, your team is in trouble. I look at the stadium practice. I don't know if you guys watched the highlights from the stadium practice, but there was one particular rep where Travis Jones was one-on-one, actually, with Daniel Faalele. That's right. The famous number 77, right guard for the Baltimore Ravens. Very polarizing player, Daniel Faalele is. But let me tell you, on this rep, Travis Jones took this, however big Daniel Faalele is. How big is Daniel Faalele? Let me see. How big is Daniel Faalele? Let me see if Siri can answer that for me. Daniel Faalele is 6'8". Okay. 6'8" and 380 pounds. When I tell you, Travis Jones was literally just backing this man straight down. Like it looked like Shaq on Muggsy Bogues backing him down in the paint. That's what it looked like. Like it's just dominance. Straight back. If Travis Jones is lining up over your center or your guard and pushing him straight directly back into the quarterback's lap with that interior pressure, and oh, by the way, you got Odafe Owe and Kyle Van Noy and Mike Green screaming off the edge. And not to mention Nnamdi Madubuike. Listen, man. I think that this defensive line, this front seven, can do damage this year. A lot of damage. And I was watching some Aaron Rodgers highlights with the Jets today because I really want to get a real assessment on how good Aaron Rodgers is in the Big 25. I do. So I went back and I watched some Jets highlights. I know they're from almost a year ago, but I looked at some of his better games. And when I tell you the mobility for Aaron Rodgers just is not there. Aaron Rodgers in his younger playing days when he was with Green Bay, he had a lot more mobility because, of course, he was younger. That was when he was doing the whole discount double check thing. I don't know if you guys remember that. I don't know if you guys were around for that. But that was when he had legs and he was more mobile, right? Now he is literally a statue. If he cannot simply just step right up in a pocket to make a throw, there's not going to be too much he's doing. So I say all that to say, if Travis Jones is lining up nose tackle, right, and he's not on a bum ankle this year, and then you've got Nnamdi Madubuike, who put on, 10 more pounds, 15 more pounds of muscle. Odafe Owe did the same thing. I'm just saying it's going to be a scary sight for a lot of offenses, especially if you don't have a quarterback who can kind of shake and move and kind of get out of there like a Patrick Mahomes, like a Joe Burrow can tend to do, like a Josh Allen. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Let me see. What else you guys are saying in the chat? Something we're playing. Something weird always happens when we play in Pittsburgh. Don't want Falele starting. Almost 400 pounds. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Trying to scroll up here, see if I missed something. Somebody beefing with somebody? What's going on? I don't know. I don't know what all is going on in the chat. I'm trying to like focus on talking, but you guys are having different conversations in here too. She says no, don't read. That's funny. Okay. I won't read. At least not now. What else came out of camp today? What else? Oh yeah, in the locker room after the practice, your boy Marlon Humphrey had to do Marlon Humphrey things and get on Instagram Live and put Nate Wiggins on the camera and asked him like what was happening and whatnot. And Nate Wiggins is just like he's not having it, not responding. And then you got Kyle Hamilton in the background, like, well, like he got kicked out, but he was standing up for his teammates. Which is what you got to do. But it's funny. It's funny. Nate Wiggins is gonna be a dog, man. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be just fine. He's gonna be just fine. This is interesting. NFL on ESPN. And the NFL is banning the use of smelling salts during games, saying the products are not proven to be safe and also could mask signs of a concussion, according to a memo the league sent to teams on Tuesday. The ban comes as a result of FDA warnings that were issued in 2024. Interesting. I know a couple of players on the Ravens who used smelling salts in the past. Roquan Smith was one. Brent Urban was one as well. But I guess no more. Right, boy? No more. Well, let me see this. I didn't see this. Keenan Allen is re-signing with the Chargers. That makes sense. That's interesting. I mean, Keenan Allen still got some. See, he's still got some juice in the tank. I'm telling you, he's still got some juice in the tank. Yeah, I don't think there was anything else that I really had from camp. Don't think there was anything else I really had from camp. So yeah, drop some questions in the chat. And I'll go ahead and I'll answer those to kind of wrap up this episode of the show. The Ravens have dropped a clip of TJ Tampa getting a nice pass breakup. That was good to see. Very good to see there. Also, it was reported that Aeneas Peebles, defensive lineman, had a good day as well, rookie defensive lineman. So, man, I'm so excited for this defense, man. I'm so excited for this defense. So much so that in my fantasy draft last night, I actually picked up the Ravens defense because I think that turnovers are going to be a big thing, and I want to cash in on those points. I definitely want to cash in on those points. Oh, how could I forget? Jing, how could I forget? I knew I was forgetting something. And I had this in my thing. Charlie Kolar had a good practice today. He was a star, according to Jonas Schaefer. A couple of nice catch and runs, a touchdown in the red zone, and now a tough catch over the middle while being leveled from behind. How could I forget Charlie Kolar? He's actually in the thumbnail for this video. That's funny. But yeah, I mean, Charlie Kolar, Cordell Woodland was on the show yesterday, and he was saying how, Charlie Kolar, he can't make plays that Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews can. So, but to see this, in Likely's absence, Kolar is stepping up. He's stepping up. And again, I think Charlie Kolar is going to be one of those guys that nobody is expecting, and rightfully so. I mean, it's not like he's some monster who's got these crazy highlights, but maybe like only like one or two of them. Like he's just a guy, on this Ravens team. And I think to a lot of the league, he's just a guy. And I think that again, there's going to be some plays in the red zone where he gets lost in translation as everybody's paying attention to Mark Andrews, Bateman, Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. Charlie Kolar is going to find his way into a soft spot in the end zone, and Lamar Jackson is going to extend the play, get him the football. He's going to score a touchdown. I guarantee you, Charlie Kolar scores a touchdown before Isaiah Likely comes back. If anybody wants to bet that, let me know. Charlie Collar will score a touchdown. He will score a touchdown before Isaiah Likely comes back. Teacher says, try to tell y'all about Charlie too. SMH. Y'all called him a stoner. That's funny. That's funny. He might be. Who knows? He might be. Let me see. I see Charlie Collar improving this season, says Lisa. I mean, while he's got the opportunity, while Isaiah Likely is out, I mean, he's got to do something. Got to do something. Got to do something. So that's where I'm at with him. Let me see what else we got here. Yeah, I think that was about it. So I'm going to go ahead and end the stream right after I answer this from Andrew G. Higher on Simpson or Buchanan? Right now, I'm going to have to say Simpson. I think I think he understands Roquan Smith and his play style a little bit better going into year 2 as being a full-time starter alongside Roquan Smith. So as for right now, I'll go with Trenton Simpson. Buchanan, he's still going to have the game kind of slow down for him. He still hasn't had his welcome to the NFL moment. So right now, I'm gonna go Trenton Simpson. Let me see. Pat Ricard and Charlie Collar will score touchdowns. Perhaps. I mean, I think Charlie Collar definitely. Pat Ricard, not sure. You know what I do? I like to do with Pat Ricard. I like to throw him on like a little parlay. You know, if I want to do like a long shot, like big money parlay, then I'll throw Pat Ricard touchdown on there, and that just skyrockets the odds. I haven't hit one of those yet, but I know I will eventually. And the day I do, Lisa, you'll be the first to know. Let me see. Charlie was a pass catching tight end in college. Tisha Brown says, "Am I crazy or is Likely hurt like often-ish?" Not. I mean, not that I can really remember him being. I can't really remember him being out for a long, extended period of time. Yeah, I really don't remember him being out for a long, extended period of time. Let me see. Isaiah Likely injury history. Injury history. Foot fracture occur. This has jeopardy. Yeah, I don't think so. January 2025. So in 2022, he had an ankle sprain. He had an ankle sprain in 2022, but ever since then, nothing. Yeah, he's been healthy according to draftsharks.com, which seems pretty credible. But again, I don't think I remember him having any major significant injuries. Yeah, no major injuries. But yeah, back in 2022, he did have an ankle sprain that held him out. So that's that. But okay, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Didn't expect to go over 30 minutes today, but love talking to you guys. Love doing this. So I will continue to do it, and hopefully you guys continue to rock out with me. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys for viewing the stream, commenting, sending your donations, liking the video, subscribing to the channel as well. It means so much to me. It really does. It means a lot to me in the bottom of my heart. Again, I will be doing this literally all season long. So if you do enjoy the content, make sure you do like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you come back through to the next episode of the show. But until next time, again, like we always say, stay positive, test negative, and never, ever, ever forget to call God. Chris says, start giving us an hour. You're right. I should. Maybe next time, Chris. But thank you for coming through. Travis says he's leaving a like. Appreciate that. Tanja says she's going to replay. Appreciate that. Jing says, thanks, Sutton. Man, love you guys, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Don't forget to call God. Peace.